Hello there, book lovers! It's me, Raimskie, and welcome to another book review for 2021. And this time around, I will be discussing, ta-da! Docile by K.M. Sazpara, or Zapara, or Spara. I seriously don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm so sorry, K.M. So, anyway, I guess I will be just talking about this book really quickly because I still am recuperating from reading this book because I've just finished it this early in the afternoon today. And I have to be completely honest. I'm traumatized by this book. And it made me feel a lot of emotions that I have realized I haven't felt in quite a while. So anyway, I don't think I will be discussing how the story went in this book or how the characters or the scenarios that the characters have went through, but rather I will be discussing, I guess, parts of this book that I like and don't like. I don't know. We'll see. So, if you guys are planning on reading this book, the one thing that you have to keep in mind every single time is the ODR, or the Office of Debt Resolutions, because the ODR is completely essential to the storyline in this book. So, you see, this story is set in the dystopian Maryland, in the land of the United States of America. So here, in this setting, or in this world, rather, there are two groups of people. The first group are the ones who are in debt. They have a lot of debt that they inherited from their forefathers and have to pay them through means of slavery or modern day slavery in this book. And the second group are the patrons, I guess you could say, who are essentially rich, who could pay off the debts of this other group of people. So going back to the group of debtors, the thing with them is that if this group of people cannot pay their debts in time, they only have two options. They either go to jail because they cannot pay their debt, or they go through the Office of Debt Resolutions, which is selling themselves just so they could be free of debt. Can you just imagine that? So anyway, so that's how the two main protagonists in this book met. So the other has sold himself to the ODR so that he could pay off his family's debt of $3 million. And luckily, a rich person who actually is one of the richest person of the world because he's a trillionaire, matched up with this other guy. So again, through the ODR, they met and they essentially started their slave and master relationship. So another thing that you have to keep in mind during these course of this book is that a drug, and it's called Docile or Docile. I guess I'm going to call it Docile because, hey, it's a pharmaceutical drug or a fictional pharmaceutical drug in this book. So essentially, what Docile does is that it makes a person do commands without questions at all. So once you are injected with a drug, your patron can make you do things without even you questioning it. So they could make you lift heavy stuff without your question, make you participate in a docile race, which is essentially a race for dociles. So your the dociles here are essentially like pets for these rich people, which is why I kind of don't like that idea, because having or just reading about someone being a slave is a bit traumatizing. So I told you I'm completely traumatized with this book. So anyway, what was I again? Oh yeah, talking about the effects of Docile. And your patron could also make you have sex with them or with other people if they want to. So basically, if you are injected with Docile, your basic human rights or your basic human right of autonomy is completely cut off. But the thing is, dociles, which are the people who are essentially called modern day slaves, have 7 rights. And one of them is rejecting Docile, which essentially what happened to our 2 main protagonists, and actually to one of our protagonists, Elisha, who and I'm sorry for not pronouncing it, saying his name early on. So Elisha refused to take Docile, and his patron, whose name is Alex, and whose family actually manufactures the drug itself, got a little bit pissed off with Elisha, or when he took Elisha in. So fast forward, basically, since Elisha refused the drug itself, Alex now had to come up with a plan on how to take control of his own docile, which is Elisha. So throughout the book, he slowly but surely brainwashed him. Which is kind of... You see what I'm going through here? Brainwashing a person. I can't. So... Anyway, I'm sorry. So anyway, throughout the brainwashing process of Alex, he eventually fell in love with Elisha. And just when he realized that he is in love with Elisha, he basically tried to bring him back to his family, because Alex knows that he is not in love with Elisha himself, but he is in love with the version he made out of Elisha. That's what I mean. So, since during that scene, Elisha doesn't know how to do anything without Alex anymore, and he's a little bit confused, he got a little bit hurt. I mean, not a little bit hurt. He got hurt a lot emotionally, because he is completely brainwashed that he doesn't know how to choose his own clothes. He doesn't know if he can sit independently on a chair. He doesn't know what to eat for his meals. And basically, he just doesn't know how to function as a basic human being. That's the kind of brainwashing that Alex did to him. And Alex only did that, I'm going to say this now, because of pressures from his family. You see, since Alex's family is the one who manufactures Docile, and he is the chief executive officer of their company, he has a lot of pressures from his friends and from his family that he can take care of a docile or a modern day slave who is off med. That's what they call them, those people who refuse Docile. And I'm not going to say the reason that Elisha refused Docile, because otherwise I'm going to give out the plot, basically the plot of the book. That's why he did what he did. Then, going to the end of the story, what happened is that Elisha and Alex broke up. Because then they realized things regarding their true feelings for each other. Because, again, Alex is in love with Elisha because of the version that he made out of him. And Elisha thinks that he is in love with Alex because he doesn't know how to function without him. And the mental and emotional abuse that went throughout the story is, I guess, what traumatized me, or what made me feel things that I haven't felt for quite a long time. So, going forward with the story, Alex's father eventually sued Elisha and his family because he thought that Elisha seduced Alex. Seduced is the word. Alex. And Alex was put into a mental institution because, according to his father, he was not himself during the time he was with Elisha. So anyway, they went through a lot of troubles, legal battles, and in the end, Elisha won, and Alex got fired from his family's company, and Elisha and Alex basically became equals in the end. So, since they broke up in the middle of the book, the question here now is, will they get back together at the end? So if you want to find out, you guys have to read Docile by K.M. Saspara. I guess I have to put out the warnings out here right now before you take a copy of this book, because it deals with themes of BDSM or bondage, fetish. It deals with sexual assault, again, because of the slave and master relationship that is in this book. And it also deals with depression and suicide. So if you guys are wanting to read Docile by K.M. Saspara, or Spara, again, sorry for not pronouncing it properly, you have to be mentally stable, and that you should be ready to be traumatized, to feel a lot of things. Because when I started reading this book, I was elated. Completely elated. I was hooked because it feels like an addictive drug. And I really can't put this thing down. If not for my courage of getting enough sleep, I wouldn't be putting this book down. Honestly. Trust me. Again, content warnings. It deals with depression, suicide, sexual assault, BDSM. So those are the things that you should be keeping in mind. Oh, and what I liked about this book when it comes to representation of gender identity and expression and sexuality, it has a lot. And polyamory is also included in this book. So if you are into those things, or if you want to read a book that has a lot of representation, then this book is for you. But then again, don't forget my warnings. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I hope it's not that long again. So, again, this is Raimskie asking you guys to please hunt, discover, and read those queer books. Bye! Queer out!